The relationship didn't end with shouting matches or a storm of tears. No, it ended in silence, a cold, aching silence. The kind that settles in after something important has already died. The worst part wasn't the moment it happened, but the emptiness that followed. It started with a simple lie about a weekend. One evening, I looked at her and asked, "Elise, where were you last Saturday? You told me you were at your cousin's." She shifted uncomfortably, her eyes darting away. She snapped, her voice defensive. "Why are you grilling me?" I kept calm. "Because I spoke to your cousin. She hasn't seen you in months." Her face went still, a flicker of alarm flashing in her eyes. "Oh, I meant Sarah. My co-worker. I must have mixed up the names." That should have been a red flag. But after 6 years together, 3 of them engaged, with wedding invitations sent and a venue reserved, I didn't want to believe one mistake could unravel everything. You don't throw that away over one slip, right? But in the weeks that followed, she began to drift. No calls, no texts, no explanations. When I finally confronted her, she exploded. "You're smothering me," she yelled one evening. "Always needing to know where I am, what I'm doing. Do you think I'm some child?" "No, Elise," I replied, my patience thinning. "I think I'm your fiancé, and I deserve to understand why you're pushing me away." She didn't offer an answer. Instead, she grabbed a suitcase, muttered that she needed space, and walked out the door. I waited, told myself it was temporary, that she just needed time. But days turned into weeks. Not a single message, not even a missed call. It was like I'd been erased from her life. Eventually, the waiting wore me down. The confusion turned into sorrow, and with a heavy heart, I canceled the wedding. I called the venue, the caterer, the photographer. Every call felt like I was dismantling not just a celebration, but the entire life we'd planned. Then, a few weeks later, my phone rang while I was flipping through channels. It was a brother, Mark. "Hey, Daniel," he said, his voice uneasy. "How are you holding up?" I leaned back, suspicion rising. "Let me guess. Elise asked you to call." A pause. "Yeah, sort of. She's been a mess. She says everything spiraled out of control. She wants to fix it." "Fix it?" I repeated, bitterness creeping into my voice. "She disappeared for weeks. Mark. Left me in the dark, wondering what the hell I did wrong. How do you fix that?" He sighed. "She knows she screwed up. She just wants a chance to talk." "No," I said firmly. If she wanted to talk, she could have picked up the phone. "I'm done." "You two were solid. Daniel," he said quietly. "Don't throw that away." "She already did." I snapped. "I'm not cleaning up a mess." Mark was quiet for a moment, then said gently, "She's struggling. Just consider hearing her out. Maybe you both need closure." I laughed, cold and sharp. "I don't need closure. I need honesty. I need her to stop pretending I never mattered. I'm finished." I ended the call before he could say anything more. A mix of frustration and finality settled over me. I couldn't believe Elise thought I'd just let her walk back into my life like nothing happened. But it wasn't over yet. The next day, her mother called. Her voice was soft, weighed down by sadness. She spoke of Elise's struggles, of the pain she was in, of how sorry she was. But I had drawn my line. Elise had lied, disappeared, and left me to drown in the silence. Trust was shattered. Her mother tried to convince me that Elise had changed, but I wasn't swayed. I didn't belong in her story anymore. Just as I thought I was starting to move on, a letter arrived. The handwriting on the envelope stopped me cold. Elise's. I stood there for a moment, torn between tossing it and opening it. Curiosity won. Inside was a long, emotional letter. She poured out apologies, talked about how much she missed me. But halfway through, her tone shifted. "I've been thinking about how we can rebuild things, Daniel. I still have your apartment key. I've considered coming by so we can talk face to face. I even found a couple therapists for us. I truly believe we can fix this if we try." My stomach dropped. I'd changed the locks weeks ago. But the idea that she still thought she could just show up chilled me. The next day, I wrote a short reply and mailed it back. Elise, I've moved on. You need to as well. Please don't reach out again. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. A few days later, while making coffee, a knock came at the door. I opened it to see her sister, Claire, standing there, tense and nervous. Claire, I said cautiously, keeping my tone neutral. What's going on? I need to talk to you, Daniel, she said, her voice low but urgent. It's important. Can I come in? I shook my head. No, just tell me what this is about. She hesitated, then said quietly, Elise doesn't know I'm here, but there's something you need to know about her. My patience snapped. I don't want to talk about Elise, I said, my voice firm. She made her choice. She walked away. There's nothing left to say. But Claire didn't budge. She stepped in closer, undeterred. Aren't you the least bit curious where she was during those weeks she disappeared? The question struck a nerve. I buried those thoughts, shoved them down deep. But hearing someone say it out loud made my chest tighten. Against my better judgment, I stepped aside and motioned her in. She sat across from me, her expression taut with guilt and something like resolve. She was with someone else, she said quietly. A guy she met at her yoga class a few months back. They went on a trip together. She needed to figure out if it meant anything. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. Elise hadn't just left. She'd left for someone else. Traveled with him. Chose him. Anger surged through me. But Claire kept going. She realized it was a mistake, she continued. She told me it was always you. She regrets it. She wants to come back. I stared at her, stunned. A wave of disbelief crashed into fury. She cheats on me, disappears for weeks with some guy, and now I'm just supposed to take her back? Is this some kind of joke? Claire flinched, but held her ground. She knows she messed up. She's trying to make amends. There's nothing to fix, I said coldly. She broke it. There's no trust left. Claire opened her mouth to respond, but something in my expression must have warned her off. She got up and left without another word. I shut the door behind her, hands shaking. A week passed. Then my phone rang. It was my mom. Daniel, she said, her tone grave. Elise came by today. She was in tears, begging me to convince you to talk to her. My stomach twisted. What did you say? I told her, you're an adult and you made your decision. My mom paused, but she seemed desperate. Are you absolutely sure you don't want to speak to her? Yes, I said, jaw tight. She's crossed the line. Showing up at your place, that's not okay. I agree, my mom sighed. But be careful. She doesn't sound like she's letting go. A few days later, it escalated. I came home to find a note taped to my door. Elise's handwriting was unmistakable. Daniel, I know you're angry, but please, just talk to me. I can't let things end like this. I love you. This wasn't just persistence anymore. It was beginning to feel like obsession. I called my friend Ryan and met him at a bar. Over drinks, I unloaded everything. Claire's visit, my mom's call, the note. He listened quietly, then said, You can't let this keep going. She's not going to stop unless you make it absolutely clear this isn't okay. What do I do? I asked, feeling exhausted. Get a restraining order, he said bluntly. I know it sounds drastic, but you need to protect your peace. I nodded slowly, the weight of it settling in. I didn't want to go that far, but maybe I had to. That night, just as I was walking up to my apartment, I froze. Elise was standing there, waiting. She stepped forward, her eyes red, voice trembling. Daniel, please, we need to talk. I love you. I can't lose you. My frustration finally boiled over. This is how you're handling things? Sending your family? Turning up at my door? She moved closer. I don't know how else to reach you, she whispered. Please, I'll do anything. I took a step back. You left. You cheated. You dragged my mom into this. It's over. This ends now. Tears filled her eyes. Please, I can't live without you. Then face what you did, I said, my tone like ice. If you keep coming back, I'll file the restraining order. I mean it. I walked past her into my apartment and shut the door behind me for the last time. The next morning, I followed through. I filed the paperwork. Part of me braced for more drama, more interference. But instead, there was nothing. No calls, no letters, no surprise visits. Just silence. At first, it was eerie, like waiting for a storm to return. But over time, that quiet became a strange kind of comfort. The end of my engagement didn't just mark the loss of a partner. It shattered the illusion of who Elise really was. And in that stillness, I found something I hadn't felt in a long time: peace. One night, sitting across from Ryan with a cold beer in hand, he looked at me and said, "You seem different, man. Lighter." "Yeah," I replied, because I finally realized I don't have to carry the weight of a decisions anymore. I made mine. I let go. Piece by piece, I rebuilt. I learned where my limits are. I learned to protect my peace and to recognize my own worth. Looking back, I don't regret how it ended. It showed me what I truly deserve: